Tonight, we talk about Asen, Sailor Moon, and how some of our favorite franchises have changed over the years. The next episode of Button Mashers starts now. Alright, Don.
I'm always ready.
Get off your laptop, then. I better not see that thing open.
You're gonna see it open! Take this away from me, and I swear to God, this will be the only podcast you get where because I will murder you.
Honestly, have you seen the picture that Steph did for the podcast?
No.
I'll have to show it to you, but it's absolutely perfect for what we're talking about.
Have you seen my computer background? Of course I'm distracted all the time.
Yeah.
You leave me that way, I get into less trouble.
But Don, I want you to get into trouble.
No, trouble involves fire and you losing your apartment. I'm warning you now. If I see a spider, I'm not killing it same way as last time.
Okay.
I'm just gonna throw out all reasoning because you've concluded that that's a bad idea. Therefore, I should go with my first solution.
All right. Well, let's just get on into it. Hello, welcome every pony to the Button Mashers podcast.
You jagbag! You didn't tell me we were recording this.
Here's Don, the dickbag.
I'm gonna strike you.
And of course, our always talented and always famous Octorox, aka Steph.
Hi.
That was a great hello.
Not as good as yours, Don.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm gonna strike you.
I
Domestic abuse, right here on Button Mashers.
It's not domestic.
domestic. I mean,
ooh.
I
don't know. Hey,
we
you know
got
what?
butt mashers. I didn't know I was in a relationship with my friend.
Yeah, no shit, right?
You know, here on Button Mashers, we always start off our podcast with an icebreaker. So I was gonna ask us a video game icebreaker question, but here's a better one. Abusive relationships between friends. Does that count as domestic abuse?
No, just called one of us is an asshole. No, it's called one of us is an asshole. The other one's got really high hospital bills.
All right, here's a better. It's been a while since we all got together for a podcast, but here's a better icebreaker question because today we're gonna be talking about franchises, in general, and pretty much we can all talk about what we think about franchises and good things and bad things. As well as some things we've gotten into, including Asen. Steph, you went to C2E2.
I sure did.
But here's the question. Last time we talked about our favorite video games, Don said Silent Hill.
Of course.
Steph, which game series which franchise did you say?
Probably Silent Hill 2 as well, but...
You also liked Okami, though, yes?
Yeah, Okami was my top, though.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. Other than Silent Hill, Steph, is there another franchise that...
Pokemon.
Pokemon? Okay, yeah, that's a good
That's
one.
like the big one right now for a lot of people.
I think the same, and I think for me, it's still Elder Scrolls, but I think another good franchise that I really got into was Final Fantasy. I mean, we all do, but for me, it's like really deep. So let me ask, here's the icebreaker question for today. Steph, out of the whole Pokemon franchise, and let's just limit this to the Game Boy games, not the handheld games, not the spin-offs, not the stadiums, not Pokemon Snap, although Pokemon Snap is awesome and everything, but out of that franchise, which of those games did you think was the worst?
The worst. Oof.
Maybe which one did you think was most off the mark of a Pokemon game?
I know immediately. A Pokemon Diamond.
Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Well, it was the first game I played in the Pokemon, I mean, I played them from the beginning. I played like Red, Blue, Yellow, Silver, and Gold, and all those guys. But then I skipped because I never had in Advance. I never got to play Emerald and that Ruby and Sapphire. So I got to skip that. So my big return to the Pokemon franchise was Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and I was really excited because it's like, oh, it was partially 3D worlds and, kind of a bigger, expanded, super colorful. And the game it really let me down because where I feel every game in the franchise, it kind of expanded on something. Like in Silver, you got the cell phone and you got different things. There's different mechanics to the gameplay, like that made it different, made it special. Whereas Diamond, they really just added like really stupid side mini games, like making poffins and... And, like, I think that was the one, it had, like, a dress-up game, or maybe that was the one after, but, like, it was, like, really dumb. Like, all the mini-games, like, they weren't fun to play. It wasn't like the casino where it was cool and fun. Like, it was, like, you're just spinning things to make poffins for no reason, and, like, the game itself was, like, there wasn't really memorable Pokemon. That's the generation where Bidoops were, like, spread around like Zubats. They were just everywhere, and they're just stupid, and...
Yep.
Were not memorable, and just the whole game, that game left me very sour.
Yeah, I do remember it was Ruby and Sapphire where they first introduced the Pokemon like talent contest. What did they call it?
Don't look at me. I stopped playing after Silver.
Actually,
correction. I stopped playing after Crystal.
I do remember that from Diamond and from Ruby, and I looked at it, I was like, why is this here? But I guess I got, we'll talk. That's an interesting part. Don, Silent Hill. I think it's pretty. I think I could pretty much tell because there are some pretty bad Silent Hill games. But which one of them do you think in the official, the canonical Silent Hill universe? Which one of those?
1 through 4, or you talk about 1 through 4, and then because there's Shattered Memories and then there's the side ones.
Yes. We'll not include Shattered Memories.
Okay.
Not in Shattered Memories because that's kind of more spin-off.
That's really just a spin-off of
one.
Like
yes.
The first Silent Hill movie, Silent Hill 1, and Shattered Memories are all a spin-off of the original, like the first story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's.
The only one that's canon by Konami standards is the original PS1 version.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the other games are too. But of the Silent Hill franchise,
which one do you think I don't like? I'm curious first.
No, I just want you to answer the question and don't be a dick.
No, I'm not being a dick. I'm just curious because a lot of people assume they know which one and they don't.
I could guess.
Yes. Which one do you think it is?
No, I want you to come up with the answer because just do it.
Well, I don't like Silent Hill 4 The Room.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Actually, I was expecting that. I thought you were going to say 1, because I was like, oh, a lot of people go with 1. And I was like, oh.
Bull, I love the first 3.
No, I know Don loves the first 3. Honestly, I kind of thought he would go with either Downpour or Homecoming.
No, I actually kind of appreciate those in their own sense. Those are more combat-oriented, and I can respect those for that, for that take on it. I can't stand Silent Hill 4 The Room due to the fact that all it is you're stuck in a fucking room. You go through a hole in your bathroom or laundry room. I can't even remember.
It's your
and then you're onto an open world. I'm like, fuck it.
All right, Don. This is probably the hardest thing I ever have to ask you. And as a friend, we have this conversation very much. But try to explain to me, what is it about Silent Hill 4 The Room compared to other Silent Hills?
1, limited inventory space. 2, boring ass story. 3, fuck you, you don't need to throw in ghosts.
No, I think you missed the worst part of 4 was the backtracking. You basically play for like 5 hours into the game and you go through like 3 different worlds, and then basically the other half of the game is you just going back through it again. And it's like with Silent Hill, like the big part of the franchise is that it's really monotonous. You keep doing the same thing. You keep going indoors to go through to get keys for other doors. So you have to know the area and go through it a million times already. for the fact that they throw you back into it for a second go is just nauseating.
And they don't even change anything. All you do is it's different color scheme. You know, something bad happened, and oh look, the person that got killed is now the fucking ghost and antagonizing you.
Yeah. The ghosts were so annoying.
That was part
they weren't
4.
Even scary. They were just
Silent Hill 4: The Room had 4 things I can't stand about it.
But also, I will give them this. I liked when you were in the room, like his room, and you would look through the peephole, because I was some of the times, the only times I was actually scared in the game was when I'd look through and suddenly you'd be like the main killer guy, or, you know, one of the neighbors just suddenly up there.
Yeah, that was one of the cool aspects. It's like, oh, I can still kind of interact with outside slightly by looking at the people or the peephole to my neighbor's bedroom.
And also, it's cool because one of there's a connection to Silent Hill 2, because one of the guys looking through the door, the landlord of that apartment, is James's dad from Silent Hill 2.
Yeah,
makes me really happy. Just
I knew that. But strangely enough, I knew that Silent Hill 4: The Room was kind of coming out before 3 was even released. Because if you actually read a lot of the notes in 2, they kind of lead up into 4, like, really, really well.
They do. No, yeah, because, when you, in 2, you get the notes about Walter.
Yeah, and there's a good, 8 or 9 notes about it.
Yeah, and also, Walter kind of looks like Beck, like the musician Beck. Like, I get that out of my head, which is, weird, because I'm like, this is, I don't know, I expect him to just, break into song.
Yeah, a little bit. I really couldn't stand 4. The biggest
Don,
issue...
I'm going to cut you off there because we're going to move on with the rest of the podcast, because I know you could probably talk about Silent Hill 4: The Room for pretty much a whole hour.
No, about another 5-10 minutes at best. But let's continue then.
Well, for me, it's the Elder Scrolls series is a lot smaller, so I'm not going to focus on that. Although I think Oblivion for me was the weakest of the Elder Scrolls series that I know of. But for Final Fantasy, I say it's 10 for me.
I can agree with you there.
And I know a lot of people disagree because a lot of people like 10, but for me, I thought 10 was the weakest. And the reason why I think it was, I think it kind of was like what I felt was the first step towards what I thought was Square's road of forgetting the roots of Final Fantasy and what it was, and we kind of see how it kept going down that road. But I kind of look at Final Fantasy X and say that's kind of where that downhill spire began.
Yeah.
And for me, the dialogue, Final Fantasy has always had kind of corny dialogue, but with the voice acting, it comes out a lot more. Yeah. Especially when you have to listen to Tidus every, goddamn minute.
Seconds?
Yeah, well,
He was only quiet, outside of combat if you weren't moving.
I'm pretty sure Cloud and or Squall would have been just as terribly annoying if we had had them as voice actors.
7, to me, is still the worst Final Fantasy. I can't stand that one. I just don't like the world. I didn't like the gameplay system for it.
7? Really?
Yeah, First off, I couldn't stand the world. Most of the characters were just dull and boring.
Really?
Yeah.
Hold on. How far into 7 did you get?
I beat the goddamn game.
Really?
Yes.
And you think the characters are shallow and not very deep?
They're just boring. A lot of the characters are just boring.
Don, you're like an enigma wrapped in you're an enigma wrapped in a bacon sandwich.
Ooh. Can we have a bacon sandwich later?
No.
Then why are you bringing up bacon, asshole?
Because that's how infuriating it is to talk to you about anything.
Well, no, I did not like 7. The world was just... It just seemed like it was too serious of a game to me. When I play Final Fantasy, it's... You're supposed to have that adventure, and then you're supposed to have that one point in the game where suddenly shit hits the fan. It's like, well, we can't enjoy this anymore.
Oh, okay. So you're coming more from older Final Fantasies.
Yeah, where it's like the original Final Fantasy, where it's like, oh no, my kingdom's in trouble. All right, let's go on an adventure.
Right, okay, so like Final Fantasy VI, that totally awesome game that we're playing.
Yeah, that we need to get back into.
Yeah, we kind of need to.
Well,
do...
six really kind of does start off depressing.
I get it though. Let's move on. Steph, I was gonna say with Pokemon, the weakest one I thought was Gold and Silver.
Oh no, you didn't.
I have a Maglite. Just say when.
It was. It's not. It's just because I don't have too much of a serious impact of most of the Pokemon games, but
well, see, I actually don't. I see where you're coming from, and I could see where most people would say that because, in all seriousness, when I really sit down and think about Silver and Gold, like it had a lot of great new Pokemon in that generation, but like the actual gameplay mechanics is like they gave you a cell phone and you got calls from your friends who you didn't want to talk to, and like it was just kind of like silly, like, and then your rival was just like not funny like Gary, who's just kind of a dick who's like, I'm kicking my Pokemon, why don't they win?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, for me, what it comes down to is that it was what I feel is like my blasé about most of the Pokemon series, that most of the games for the Pokemon series are generally have the same format. I mean, obviously you have your 3 starters that are fire, grass, and water, and with some differences like mixed in, and you're going through gym battles to defeat the Elite Four, and it's always the Elite Four followed by
the champion.
Somebody. And so like Gold and Silver, I don't remember that game being like so terribly different in its story that
it was pretty damn, like, it really wasn't focused on story like at all. It wasn't until later that they kind of, and especially in Soul Silver and Heart Gold is when they actually revamped that game. That's probably my favorite game in the entire series.
I haven't played either of those yet.
Yeah, neither have I, so I can't say.
They took it and they added a bunch of things, and like it all just it's beautiful. It looks really good. You can go back to the first region. It's really good. It's like a really good game for the fans of the original series, because it's not groundbreaking, whereas I would consider something like, even with X and Y and Black and White, they did a really good job of kind of trying to bring in new concepts, new types of battles, and they tried bringing in ethics instead of just like, you need to win badges. They're like, yes. Hey, is this right or wrong? And I thought that was cool.
To be fair, like Red and Blue, kind of the same thing, except that it had the storyline of Team Rocket that evolved throughout the storyline, and that kind of excelled it, but. For me, it's not that Gold and Silver were bad. We're just talking about the game that we feel is the weakest of that franchise. Yeah. But like, yeah, for me, it's Final Fantasy X, and for Silent Hill, I don't know. I know 2 is good, but I know 2 is good, but 2 just wasn't as interesting to me as I know it was interesting to a lot of other people.
We can't be friends anymore.
We were friends in the first place?
I thought so. Not anymore.
Rough times, dude. Rough times.
Yeah, for you.
I really should stop having blunt instruments of violence around my apartment.
I'll kill you with this rolling toilet paper over here. You just really shouldn't be putting objects near me to begin with.
Probably not.
If you're talking to a survival horror fan, anything can be a weapon.
Damn right.
Learned.
So, this has all been very interesting, but let's get into what I wanted to talk about franchises. Is kind of discussing how are these weakest links really bad? Because here's what I wanted to touch on. If you on the YouTube channel Game Theory, there's a video that talks about what gamers want and how video gamers are generally the ones that are killing the game industry by asking for things that they think they want, even though they don't really know what they want. And a lot of what these games are that we see that are the weakest links, these are games that
try something new that we thought we want, and then we realize we don't. And that's what a lot of franchises do. So you take all of our weakest links, you just really see something that we're not accustomed to that we thought we want, and we didn't. Hence, I can explain. I don't like 7 due to the fact that I didn't like the really dark world that they threw you off in.
Right.
I also didn't like the difficulty curve that they had with the materia system. But that's another story, and that I will spend about 4 or 5 hours on.
Yeah, and like with Pokemon Diamond, you didn't like how they threw in the mini games, and then they didn't really expand on the areas that you thought that they should expand on. Yeah. And for me, in Oblivion and for 10, there are whole swaths of people who think that Oblivion is the best of the Elder Scrolls series so far, and that Final Fantasy X is like their number 2 or number 1 in some cases. So really, we all have to understand that in many ways, there's not really good or bad when we're talking about these kinds of games, because if they sell well, they're good. And if they don't sell well, they're generally not. It's kind of a capitalist way of looking at it, but we can see that when games make money, they are good. Yeah. And obviously they are well received. So
Square got their money out of me when I bought 7.
For me, Final Fantasy IX is one of my favorites.
Oh, thank you. We have something we agree on.
No one can see us high-fiving.
They can hear it, though.
I heard it.
Hold on, wait. Okay, there we go. I was just afraid we were going to do a really weak high five. But here's the thing. Final Fantasy IX was terribly not well received, and was actually one of the worst performing of the Final Fantasies among all of the franchise.
Sad fact.
But
usually it seems to be that's kind of the way the world works. Like with Okami, like it's universally loved by critics and fans, but for sales wise, it did jack. That's why Clover went out of business. They made amazing games, but no one was buying.
And that's kind of
until they went out of business, and then everybody wanted it.
Well, yeah, that's kind of how the games industry is now. People like to joke about Call of Duty and Battlefield and how we're just getting one after another of all the same game. But those games are making multi-million-dollar profits.
Those are the games that are giving the movie industry a run for their money right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Those are the games that movie industries people are saying, "Wow, maybe we should start making movies about games because this is a big money maker."
Please don't do that, Hollywood. You'll go bankrupt in about a week.
Don, they've already been doing it.
Silent Hill. They've already infected our favorite series.
I know. They need to stop is what I'm trying to say.
Let's see. Silent Hill, Doom, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. I could go on.
I know.
I'm going to say something.
They did Dead or Alive, for the love of God.
Yes, they did a Dead or Alive movie.
I forgot about that.
A lot of people wanted to about that.
I can't, because I was forced to watch it. To this day, that person calls me. And I tell them to go fuck themselves and hang up.
But when we talk about the games that are weakest links, what we can understand is, and this is what the games industry needs to understand too, there are sometimes things that can be understood as just universally bad, and nothing stands out more in that department than Sonic the Hedgehog.
I know why you brought this up, your ass. I think I know why.
Well, I brought it up for 2 reasons. Because it's just the poster child of what a game franchise should not do with their intellectual property.
And 06.
06 is just kind of the poster child of
terrible
ideas of what to do with an intellectual property. But look at it this way. 06 has gotten a lot of publicity and probably a whole lot of popularity, possibly just because of how terrible it is. So
if I see that game, and if I'm not going to get arrested, I'm going to destroy it. There is no popularity, there is no publicity. It's a game that should be wiped out of the face of the earth like E.T.
That's fair enough, but
but it came back. It'll always come back.
No shit.
Think about this. The biggest complaints about Sonic 06, it's buggy, it doesn't control well,
In love
and
with
it's
human.
and it's it's just weird as hell. Those three same things were the selling points of Goat Simulator that was released recently, and that game is selling. That game is selling by the millions.
That game shouldn't be a game. It should be, give us 50 cents and you can have it.
Well, that's a lot of like the app market now is like a lot of. I used to get really angry about it, be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Angry Birds is selling millions and millions of copies of a stupid game that you're just flinging things at.
No shit. I played it once and I'm like, and you can go burn in hell now. Thank you.
It hit me that like this isn't. In a way, it's like it's meant for gamers, but it's really not meant for us. It's kind of like the theory of like when the Wii came out, it was supposed to be this great thing. It's like, oh, you can be intuitive with your system. You can finally kind of interact with your games like personally. And then when a lot of people got it, they're like, I just want to play with a controller. I care more about gameplay than I do like stupid gimmicks.
We're fat and lazy. Get us fat and lazy.
And it's just like there's that aspect of the market now where gimmicks and apps and quick, easy, silly, just ridiculous things are what's making the money for the industry now, because there's going to be the fans of just pure aesthetics and gameplay and stuff, and there are things that are in that with like the Wii U and apps, but it's few and far between, and really what's making the industry profitable is things like that.
Yeah, and actually the Wii did sell very well. It was the GameCube.
Oh, yeah.
The GameCube did not.
No,
sadly,
which I was surprised to find out that the GameCube didn't do so well, but I understand why, because back then, if you remember, when it was like big on console wars and everything was about like which was the better console, and not what it is today. Like, well, each console has their own culture that they're diving into, but.
It went against the PS2, which is one of the best-selling systems of all time. If like
Then it also had to compete with Halo.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the original Xbox.
I hate to say that, but when Halo came out, a lot of things just suffered. Games.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, for all arguments aside, Halo was a good game.
Oh yeah, it just attracted a different market too, because with the GameCube, another problem with it was transitional. It was very like, with each Nintendo console, you kind of expect like, you expect like a big Mario Kart, a big Zelda. Like a Zelda is what's going to sell your system, and they had Wind Waker, but that met very mixed reviews because people were like, critics loved it. It's my favorite personally, but people were like, I don't like the new style. It's too cartoony. I want something like epic. And then they had Twilight Princess, but they're like, by that time the Wii was coming out.
Right, and that game actually came out on the Wii, and it was just kind of like backported for the game. It was designed for the Wii, and you can tell that when you play it on the Wii. It was designed for the Wii. But yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's the thing. When Wind Waker came out for the GameCube, it had very like. People were talking about how, this new style is actually pretty cool because of all the facial detail that can go into Link's character, but everyone else was basically saying that this was so much not what they wanted to see. Yeah. And that's kind of where it goes back to, we as like gamers need to be open-minded while also being critical of games. Because while we don't want to see a Sonic 06 happen
again,
well, I mean, it's I would say Final Fantasy 13 and 14 are
14's the MMO.
Yeah,
a lot of people are enjoying the MMO. Well, with the MMO before
there was an MMO before they changed it. Yeah. So let's just keep that into process.
Well, no, it's still an MMO. They just had to rechange it because when they.
Yeah, because they realized they did such a terrible job the first time.
Really, all they did was make 11 again. They made 11 with better graphics. Is really all they did, from what I heard.
But case in point, I mean, you see it with Final Fantasy 13. People like it though. I know there's a whole bunch of people that say Final Fantasy 13 is great, but
it was good. I liked the story, the linear pathway. Is this?
But it did not sell nearly as well. And it might turn out that Final Fantasy 13 in the future will be the game that people look back on and say, oh man, Final Fantasy 13 was actually so super good. Why didn't it sell well? And it's all about marketing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we as gamers need to be open-minded about new games and new innovations that developers are trying. But we also need to be critical because we don't want them to do something so silly that it breaks their company. And Square realizes this now after the success of Bravely Default, kind of going back to the roots of an RPG.
Oh, when they went back, it was amazing.
But that's pretty much all we wanted to talk about for franchises, just to give some ideas, perspectives, and I thought that was a cool topic. I mean,
it's a very good topic. I enjoyed it.
Yes, thoroughly years.
So let's now talk about ASEN, because we all went to ASEN. We had a super awesome time. I know I did.
I did too.
I did, indeed.
But I know Don, you are now an intern, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes, and tell the nice people at home what you do now.
I work for a guy named KG. As of right now, I just kind of do whatever he tells me. And my next big project is when you get Watch Dogs, I need to review it.
Yeah, well, can you tell us what company you work for?
It's not really a company. It's called KnownOneRadio.com.
It's not a company?
It's a company. I don't know anything about it.
So you know nothing about business. You just know you work for some guy called KG.
Yeah, that's KG. He's one of my professors at school, and he's kind of awesome.
Wait a minute. What's his last name?
Full name's Kevin Gray.
Gray sounds like a middle name and a fake name. Could it possibly be, Don, that you're working for the KGB?
No, you jackass!
Commies, all of you.
Don is a communist. He doesn't like ranch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Report you.
I know.
American.
I'm sorry, I don't like,
And open goes the laptop.
Pulling up No One Radio.
For you people at home can see the nice title card of Don playing on his DS. But yeah, that's pretty much Don. If I don't. I'm sorry. He's showing me something.
Yeah, No One Radio.
I'm pretty sure they have a company. You don't get a fancy website if you don't have a company. So no One Radio.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Did you get a lot of pictures taken at ASEN?
Yeah, about like 68 photos or so.
That's cool. So,
a lot of them of you with the your cosplay.
Oh yeah, I did a cosplay for Hitman, which was was the first game I Let's Played on the channel, which was a lot of fun. I got a lot of good remarks from that.
I enjoyed watching you play it.
Let's wrap this up with a final overview of ASEN. Steph, best and worst of ASEN.
Oh, well, probably the best for ASEN for me. I had a cute moment. I was cosplaying a Sailor Mars on Saturday, and I was in the bathroom getting ready, and there was there's a bunch of people, fixing their costumes and stuff. And there was this mom with like a 3-year-old little boy or something tagging along with her. And as I'm fixing my costume, I hear him say to his mom, "Mom, it's Sailor Mars. Oh my gosh." And she's like, go say hi, honey. And he got all flustered and he was like, "Hi, Sailor Mars." I said hi to him, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I felt like one of those Disney princesses at the theme park,
yeah,
fully believed in it. It was that moment because when I was little, I wanted to be a Sailor Scout, so it was this beautiful full circle moment of oh, now this kid thinks I'm a Sailor Scout. Oh, beautiful.
Can I just say I know it's coming out soon, but you might know when the new Sailor Moon series is coming out?
It's actually not a new series. It's the original remastered.
Well, no, they're doing the original remaster. They're doing that as well, but there is a new series called Sailor Moon Crystal.
Oh, really? I didn't see anything about that at ACEN at all.
Yeah, neither did I. Really,
They didn't really pitch it yet. Like it's one of those things where it's happening in Japan. We're getting news about it, but they really haven't publicized it quite as much here. But they have publicized the re-release of the first season as kind of like a cursor for bringing Crystal over here. But Crystal, I forget the date off the top of my head. It's sooner than you'd think, like within the next year or so. But it looks amazing, and it's the reason I got into geekdom so much was like that and Zelda. So I'm my inner fangirl is very happy right now.
I'm actually very interested to see what that's like, because I never got into Sailor Moon as a kid.
Well, then you never had a sister. I did.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Me and my sister watched it all the way to Double S.
I mean, I never got into My Little Pony when I was a kid, but hey, look at me now.
She actually didn't either.
We all start somewhere.
For her, it was My Little Pony and Sailor Moon. My sister always picked Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Sailor Moon.
But I'd be interested to see if my love for My Little Pony can transcend into enjoying things other than My Little Pony because they're good. And we'll see, because I really haven't had anything else that's like that I could be like, this is probably not something that I should like, but it's still cool.
Well, Sailor Moon has that. It kind of goes in the MLP range of like a lot of people do like it, like guys too. Like I'm surprised because I thought it was kind of like just a girl thing, but I think because it was anime and it was like one of the few things that was released when we were younger that was coming out, that like we kind of like anime nerds at that time jumped on everything and we're like, oh my gosh, from Japan, I want to see it.
I was only forced to watch it because that was my sister's television time, and I didn't have my Game Boy half the time was recharging, so it's like, damn it.
Well, I mean, it was in the Toonami block, and I mean, if you want to watch
I was watching it way before Toonami. Me and my sister were watching it at the, I was 7, she was 5. It was back then, me and my sister just would channel surf a lot, and she found Sailor Moon one day, and we started watching it. I'm like, this actually isn't bad. And then right after Sailor Moon was Dragon Ball, so it's like,
yep,
fuck yeah.
Yep, that's what play right after school, and that would be like my thing.
Yeah, that was mine and my sister's thing. It was Sailor Moon, then Dragon Ball, and then homework.
Yep.
So, Steph, I would be interested to hear if we actually have the same thing for the worst part of ASEN.
Oh.
Because I know what we experienced together was really, really bad. But I'm wondering, did you have anything that happened that was worse than that?
Exactly, I don't think so. There's a lot of cool panels at ASEN, but we kind of hit up one that wasn't that great, and which is sad because there's a Whose Line Is It anime panel, so it's like improv games in the style of Whose Line Is It Anyways, but featuring anime stuff, so what can go wrong?
Oh, I'm curious. I missed this year's.
Oh, Don, you missed it. Yeah, that was, for me, that was also the worst part of ASEN.
Please explain this one. I'm curious now.
So,
I usually go to that every year.
Have you seen Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yes, I've seen Whose Line Is It Anyway, and last year and like the previous years before that, I've been to Whose Line Is It Anime.
Did you like it last year? I didn't go.
Last year's was really good. The year before that was also pretty good.
Well, this year, it just like, it was crazy because, we get there and the line's wrapping around the room and stuff. So we're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be crazy. The first game started out pretty good. One of our friends got up there and it was really funny. The whole room was, in stitches. And then from there, it was just like a downward spiral into like shame. And it was a bunch of, because usually like,
wow.
I thought it was going to be where like there was the 4 cast members like who are holding the event. We're going to be shouting suggestions to them and they're going to be doing the scenes, but they basically put the audience as the actors, which could be funny sometimes if you get the right people. But for the most part, it was people who just wanted to be like get a microphone and stand in front of 400 people.
Like that one guy who at the newscaster guy was just sitting on my porch, cracked open there, and then said the last line.
Yeah, what? it was just
right in the pussy guy.
What? Oh, it was just oof.
You haven't seen that?
No, what?
Okay, there's a guy, and this is his second time. There was like a big accident or something, and then the news people he's acting all nonchalant and everything, and they thought that he was affected by the incident that happened. And then the news reporter is like, "So, sir, how is this affecting you?" "Yeah, I was just sitting on my front porch, cracked open a beer, and I fucked her right in the pussy." And then they cut off to it, and it was the second time he's done it to that news station.
That's kind of a conversation for another time about how people are just trying to get internet famous with absolutely no effort.
That kind of is. People are just trying to get famous, whether it's con or not.
Yeah, I mean, not that we're doing that.
We're not?
No. We're just providing,
Tell me, why are you trying to give me that hand signal like we should stop?
We're just doing wholesome entertainment. And, well, maybe not wholesome, but we're just here
We're not wholesome. We're
just here to have fun.
We started with domestic abuse. I don't think that...
We don't care about subscriber counts or anything like that. By the way, you should totally like, comment, subscribe when you see this video if you like it. You should totally check out all of our videos, especially the new series, Friendship Theory. It's totally awesome.
It actually is. I've enjoyed both episodes that you've recorded so far. But...
Oh, really? That's good. I thought Don would be the asshole about it.
No, the first one I was kind of iffy on. The second one was actually a lot better done, in my opinion.
Yeah, but we got let's go back to Ascend. But yes, Steph, you and I both agree that Whose Line Is an Anime was worse, and for that same reason, just because they shouldn't have just given the audience the control over that, and that you didn't miss much.
Oh, that's good.
Like pretty much like 60% of the people were gone halfway through.
I'm not surprised.
I can't believe we stayed, but it was like watching watching
a train wreck happen. You don't want to see it, but you can't look away at the exact same time.
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
Don.
Yeah.
Best and worst of Ascend.
The best for me was actually hanging out with all my coworkers for their first con. Like it was all of their first cons, and it was just a really awesome time hanging out with them and all that. Just seeing them all react, and like, oh my god. The worst part of it was having to wait an hour to get into the BattleTech simulator.
The thing
that you sit inside the pod? Yeah, no, not in the video game room. Upstairs in the Hyatt lobby where they were holding that little dance party for the prom or whatever.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw that.
There's that BattleTech thing. I do it every year. It's like the best $5 you can ever spend. The problem was I picked the worst time to go, and so I had to wait over an hour to get into that.
But was it fun?
Oh, Lord, yes, it's always fun.
So, was the fun that you had in the BattleTech pod worth the wait?
Not really, because most of the people that I went up against were new, so they all had the super armored, this thing's going to take forever to die moment, so I'm just sitting there going, great, I'm in a medium tech armor. Thanks, assholes.
Okay.
Generally, I like to try to get there earlier in the day, because that's when all the people who've normally played... Because generally it works like this. If you play a light mech, you're really good at the game and you know how to fucking dodge.
Don, I'm going to cut you off there, because this is a lot of detail about BattleTech that we don't have time to cover today.
We could.
If you want to have a whole episode dedicated to BattleTech, because I'm pretty sure you could talk about an hour of BattleTech, we'll have that another time.
Done? Okay.
For me, best part was playing D&D Pathfinder in the basement of the Hyatt.
Not Hackmaster?
No, fuck that game.
I'm sorry, I have to agree with you there.
I know if you're not if for you at home, if you don't care about Dungeons and Dragons, why are you a fan of this channel? Because I rave about Dungeons and Dragons on a constant basis. But
you do?
I do.
He does enough.
I do, especially during the South Park Stick of Truth Let's Play. I love talking about like dungeon adventuring kind of games and things like that. But that's game more about South Park. But anyway, Hackmaster was terrible because of I spent 3 hours with a book rolling up a character and didn't actually get to play. And by the time I was done, I was exhausted and I was hungry. And I was just like, I'm going to go. I'm going to go and get some food and go to sleep. and then, like, the next day, I went and played Pathfinder in the other room. And then I was like, this is so much fun. Why didn't I do this from the get-go?
Because you were curious.
Yeah, well, curiosity killed the cat.
We don't have a cat.
I do.
Hide your cat.
Hide your cat, because we're coming for it.
No, you're coming for it. I'm going to stop you. Get your car keys down.
What? I don't have my car keys, Don.
Good.
Put my flashlight down.
No, I don't trust you.
Live another day.
I don't. Is your cat with you?
Yeah, she's on my lap.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Well, we can't see the cat, but it's so cute anyway. Kitty cats are so cute.
Yes, they are.
Anime Midwest is coming up. Anyone else interested in going? Someone from work was talking to me about it, and I
have none of this.
People at home can't see this.
It's called money.
No, actually, you were just holding your ball sack. Why were you holding your ball sack?
Why are you going to be holding your head open real quick?
Why are you holding that chrome gray flashlight?
I'm going to fucking hit you in a minute.
By the way, it's actually blue. Ow! Ow!
Yeah, take that, asshole. I don't even have to hit you.
Shine a light into my eye, won't I? Yeah.
That's what I did.
So, Anime Midwest. Was anyone else interested?
Not really.
No?
I've heard mixed reviews. I've either heard it's amazing, like Ascend Part 2, and then I've heard, like, it's really nothing. But it's also a newer con, so it's probably going to take a few years for it to really, like, gain its, following, but we'll see. I might go for, like, Saturday or something.
The guy, one of the guys I have at work, he actually went to Ascend, and we were talking about it, and he said that he doesn't like how Ascend's so big now, and he thought Anime Midwest was better because it was smaller. So, I mean, that's pretty much the next big con that's coming up, other than Wizard World, which comes up later in the summer.
August.
Yeah, it's August. Other than that, there's nothing else much going on throughout the summer as far as cons go.
Right.
Oh, not here, at least.
At least not here. Coming up, though, on Brony Nerds and Gamers, we do have a lot of things up. I think if this video will come out tonight. And tomorrow, we've got another episode of South Park, Stick of Truth. We've got another episode, we got a new series for White Day, Korean horror game, and Lily, Child of Geos, which is a Steam-released Unreal Engine adventure RPG, which is interesting to say the least.
I'm gonna keep my mouth quiet on what I said about it.
What?
You're playing a fucking druid.
You're playing Don, the mic can't hear you when you whisper.
Well, I don't want people to know about the goddamn game yet.
They're gonna know about it. It's coming out tomorrow. Well, the video is. The game's already out.
It's not my problem that you're playing a fucking druid.
Well,
that hurts ghost spirits and shit.
I thought I was something else completely different, but for you people at home, you'll just have to wait and see what I think of the game when that video comes out. But, I know more Final Fantasy's on the way.
Yay.
And, Steph, you can tell the people at home, what do I got you working on right now?
What do I have? I have a lot of stuff. I have some Mass Effect going on.
Oh, yeah, we got Mass Effect going on. Woo!
Oh, we got some friendship stuff. Some stuff about friendship and gaming.
Yep. Friendly gamings. Definitely a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But plenty of good stuff going around. People like the first episode of our podcast, so I'm sure we're going to continue doing it, but hopefully maybe in the next 2 weeks we could probably get back together and do this again.
Sure.
All right, we'll see if we can swing that, schedules permitting. I know a lot of people have been asking me, "Oh, hey, when's the next episode of the podcast going to be out?" And I'm like, it's kind of hard to get people together to do stuff because schedules and whatnot.
I have Skype on my laptop.
Yeah, but you don't have a good microphone.
I have Skype on my cat.
You have Skype on your cat?
That's impressive. How the hell do you install that?
Technocat.
Oh. It's a lengthy process.
I'll mail you my cat. Just send me the bill later.
Alright, that's good.
Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. Again, leave a like or comment below if you enjoyed the video. Thank you again to Steph and Don for joining me again.
What?
Say something.
Something.
Steph, you say something.
Goodbye. Ow, my cat. You got her claws was in my pants.
Good night, every pony.
Night.
Night.